I'm on a losing streak in League as my elo's being terrorized by criminals left unchecked on Summoner's Rift, so I'm not really in a good mood and I'm not feeling really nice. But I took a breather, and the first thing I see on YouTube's recommended is this puppy right here from Ned Fulmer about him trying to address the backlash to his podcast. This was posted 5 days ago. I don't know why it's getting recommended now. Maybe because I made a video on the podcast like a month or two ago. I don't know how long it's been now. About how it's like one of the most awkward podcasts ever filmed. So now YouTube decided, Charles, we know you've had a bad day, but don't worry, we've got your medicine right here. It's just what the doctor ordered. A nice dog shit apology from Ned. That's not his wife in the bed, Fulmer. Joy. Can't wait.
Hello. I've heard a lot of the commentary and reactions to my podcast episode with Ariel, and I wanted to take this video to address some of them. That episode with Ariel was mostly about her story, and now in this video, I'll tell a little bit more of mine.
Did we watch the same podcast, Ned? You sure about that? Was it really mainly her story? Because it seemed like you were the one kind of guiding the whole conversation, that you were kind of steering the ship here, which is one of the major complaints. Not only was the whole thing a terrible idea from the get-go, bringing in the wife that you cheated on with one of your employees to just kind of talk about it in front of everybody, which is just always going to be weird to hear, just being the fly on the wall for a very uncomfortable conversation like that. But the conversation also went with you in the driver's seat, which feels like the antithesis of what it should have been with letting your wife air out everything. And if it was supposed to be therapeutic for your wife, why wasn't she the one that was kind of in charge to lead this discussion? It was you. Pull off the mask of the villain here for the Scooby-Doo episode. It's Ned Fulmer. Like, it's just, you're not even, like, digesting the comments that you're supposed to be addressing.
There's a lot that we wanted to keep private, but some things I'll touch on today.
Hey, bud. I personally think all of it should have been kept private. You don't owe the internet an explanation for what's going on after your cheating. There's no reason to invite everyone inside for all the dirty laundry and everything behind the scenes. Just keep it private. I think that probably would have been the healthiest thing for all parties involved. That's just my personal opinion on the matter, but I gotta tell you, I think a lot of people shared that sentiment because this is something so personal and so devastating that putting it all out here in the public just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when it seems like the main purpose of it was to launch your podcast, the fucking rock bottom podcast, whatever garbage that is, which, by the way, nobody's watching that. First episode blew up because nobody could believe that you would actually bring on your ex-wife to discuss you cheating on her with one of your employees. That is just an unhinged idea.
First, I know that it was a very painful and uncomfortable conversation to watch. I know for some of you, it reopened things. For us, it felt like a necessary step to be able to move forward. We knew we would always get these sort of questions in any context online, and it felt like the only way to move forward was just to face it head on.
On a podcast that you're launching? That was really the only way? Look, man, far be it for me to question how Ariel wants to heal and move on from this. That's entirely her decision to make. But if this was a necessary step to try and address things head on, why did it have to be on your podcast that you are launching on the back of this episode that is exploring her feelings on having her whole life devastated from your unfaithfulness? That surely is not the only way. If you wanted to address everything like head on, you know, both feet planted, getting like rough and tough with it, why not just release like a joint statement or something, perhaps, if you needed this to be a public-facing thing in order to move on to, you know, clear the air of everything and rumors and whatever. It didn't need to be in an hour and a half or whatever podcast that you're starting. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, unless, of course, the actual motivator for it is to try and get back onto YouTube and be able to make money on the platform again. Because he is launching a product with it.
As has been reported in interviews, launching the podcast with a conversation with Ariel was Ariel's idea. She's a stakeholder in the Rock Bottom podcast and this new channel, and she wants it to be successful. So that was part of the reason why, in terms of having that conversation, we did it together rather than on any other platform.
I couldn't possibly know the inner workings of this business partnership. Haven't seen the contracts. All I can say is that feels very odd to me, because this seems like a business partnership strategy that heavily favors Ned. So I don't fully understand that, but I just really think that this is something that didn't need to be shared in this fashion.
After Discovery, I started an intensive program of therapy, group therapy, and work to really try to understand what I had done, why I had done it, and what it meant for my relationship and my life.
That's cool, man. I'm not your therapist, but I feel like the reason you did what you did is because it's something you wanted to do. In the podcast and in here too, he keeps making it seem as though he didn't know that this would be painful for his wife to be fucking one of his employees, which I think is so odd, especially the way he presents that. But he's talking about like his journey to coming to terms and realizing that what he did was bad and realizing that what he did is cheating.
All of these mental clouds that help you continue behavior that you know is hurtful, and you still do it anyways. So it let me face the truth and acknowledge in no uncertain terms that I cheated on my wife with an employee of my business, and it caused her immense pain and shattered our marriage.
Yeah, but was there ever any real uncertainty there to begin with, though, Ned? I feel like even if you had just been lobotomized, you would still be able to recognize that fucking someone that's not your wife is bad. That's textbook cheating, right? Like, this is what I'm saying. The way he presents it is weird. He makes it seem like I had to really understand this was not a good thing. This was, as they say, cheating. It's like, yeah, man, yeah. Like, okay, cool, you're getting help to get to the bottom of this, so hopefully you never do something like this again in the future, but, like, man, like, did you really need to have this huge come-to-Jesus moment that fucking a woman that's not your wife, who is also your employee, by the way, is not good, and is cheating, like, by definition? I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way the way he talks about it. Like, he was just so blind to the fact that this was a painful thing that he was doing to his wife. Like, what he was doing would make her very upset should it ever come to light. You know, it's just, you would know that. You would think, right? Like, he's sentient. I feel like anybody with a functioning frontal lobe would know that that would be very painful for your fucking partner to know and to learn. So for you to do that to them would cause them immense agony. But I guess maybe Ned didn't know that somehow.
So this was a long process that it took, approximately 2 years, and continues work even to this day at the 3-year mark, even though we decided to separate officially 2 years in. It's something that I'm really proud of. That's really changed my life, and I understand that if you, a viewer, is watching this for the first time,
I'll let that thought continue in just a moment there. It is so peculiar that he would say that it's something he's proud of here. He's not talking about like the actual cheating, I don't think, or anything like that. He's talking about him getting like therapy and the help that he needs to recognize that cheating is bad and get to the root cause of why he cheated. But to even say something like that in a video like this is very odd.
or just sees this 15-second clip on TikTok, you don't understand everything that has led us to this point. And I know that it'll take time. And if you want to just judge me off of one clip of me talking about society, which obviously was not the best response to that situation, you are welcome to do that. I know that people have a choice when it comes to what they watch and what they consume. And if people don't want to continue engaging with me on the internet, then that's a consequence of my actions and something that I have accepted.
Ned frames this as though the majority of the opinions people formed on him from that podcast are just off of TikTok clips or like 15 seconds out of out of context snippets of the larger conversation, but that's just not true. Like, sure, there probably are some people that only saw the clips, but the whole conversation is there with over 1 million views. Like, a good chunk of people saw the podcast. I think a lot of people like me couldn't finish the whole thing because of how unbelievably uncomfortable and awkward it was, but it's very understandable for them to form their opinions on you based on the fact that you cheated on your wife, betraying her trust, being unfaithful to her with one of your employees, man. Like, even just seeing some of the clips or just even knowing that, plenty of people are not going to like you for that. It has nothing to do with them only seeing these podcast clips that make you look bad. The whole podcast makes you look bad because what you did is bad. You did a really bad thing, Ned. Now he has the audacity to throw himself like a little pity party here, Oh man, you have a choice in what you consume, I suppose, so if you're watching these like 15-second clips, these snippets that make me look really bad, I mean, I guess that's your choice to make. I've come to terms with it. Like, as if that's the only reason people have a negative opinion of him. Even if it is just those clips, the fact of the matter is you did a bad thing and people aren't going to like you for that. Even if they've only seen clips from that podcast, everyone else who's seen the whole thing is still going to have that same opinion because you look like shit in it. It paints you in a horrible light. Because what you did cannot be painted in a positive light. I don't know why he tries to weasel this here statement in about, like, people only seeing the clips, the snippets from the conversation. If only they'd hear the whole thing, go along for the whole ride. It doesn't make sense. Because clips or whole thing, you are still going to walk away with a bad impression of Ned, regardless. It's just if you watch the longer one, you also have to like squirm in your chair because it's so unbelievably awkward to sit through. Anyway, though, most of this is him talking about like what he's done to try and grow from it, like as a person, become a better person. It's very weird because this is him bringing up his cheating again. It almost feels like he's doing it because he knows it's going to get eyes. Like, it is a very weird thing to do again, to bring up him being a cheater. But, it's getting some views for him, and maybe that's the goal. I don't really get it. But anyway, that's really about it. Yeah. YouTuber apology videos are always highly entertaining, but I've got something especially wacky for you today. It's not an apology. This is a YouTube response video from the head of a crypto company that recently found itself in some hot water after the iShowSpeed stream from earlier this week. For those that don't know, iShowSpeed is a huge YouTuber who did an entire stream earlier this week dedicated to shilling for a very shady crypto company called Paradox Metaverse. Since then, Speed has apologized, called it a big mistake, and wants to move on and learn from the experience. And I'm not here to tell you how to feel about all of that. That's up to you. I'm not Speed's PR manager or anything, and I'm not really here to talk about Speed. I'm here to talk about that company because the head of it made a response to all of this, and he just pooped out the shittiest shit I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible. This grown-ass man sat down to whine and cry about all of the people calling it a scam just being trolls and bots. He blamed the entire thing on like a cyber terrorist attack from bots trying to bring down his company. Or if they weren't bots, they were trolls that were influenced by the bots calling it L scam. And then he provides no evidence to prove that it's not a scam, and instead just says, if we were a scam, why are we still here? We wouldn't be here if it was still a scam. If this was a rug pull, why hasn't it been rugged yet? He then issues a Galaxy Brain challenge to everyone to find a part in that stream where he said it was a scam, where he admitted it was a scam. And since you can't find a spot where he said it's all a scam, then it can't be a scam, obviously. Checkmate. I'm not even kidding. This is actually points that he's making in his fucking response video. It is so embarrassing. Where's their response video, though? I don't see that anywhere on here. That'd also be a really bad idea for them to post that publicly.
43 minutes into the video, we had an average 40,000 viewers.
That's just speed.
Comments-wise, we had around 5 to 10,000 comments. We had 2 huge spikes. The first one being when we introduced fake Ronaldo into the stream. 3 minutes.
What does it have to do with anything? He's going to make the claim that these 2 spikes... Fuck, where'd they go? He's going to make the claim that these 2 spikes were when bots came in to say L scam. But what he fails to realize is the reason there's these spikes is because more people decided to type L scam when they realized how shady, shitty, and dog shit this whole thing was. It's not bots. These clowns have been very vocal about it being bots that were saying scam. Nobody else, everyone else loved it. Like the actual people with a pulse, they loved it. Everyone saying that it was a scam is a bot. They can't wrap their head around, no, people just realized it was a fucking scam.
We had 2 huge
So that's why
spikes.
he's showing that,
First one,
because he's going to make that
we
claim.
are just as much of a fan of Aisha's speed. No comments suggesting that we are a scam. There was just W's in the chat all the way around. What happened next?
That's just because of speed. Again, the reason there are W's in the chat is because it was a speed stream. And everyone spams W's in the chat for speed. But the more that you went on about Paradox Metaverse, the more obvious it became that this is all just shilling for a dogshit crypto scam. So then people started saying, L scam. You started making calls to action for Paradox Metaverse to go follow the Twitter account, playing the game. So it made people more aware of it, and then starting to type more for it.
Caught us all by surprise. This is when the first cyber attack happens.
It's
This
not a
attack
fucking
lasted
cyber
4
attack.
minutes.
Holy shit, this guy's talking like Jack Bauer at CTU.
After the 4-minute attack, all the comments went down, as you can see here. Guys, this is very unusual. It's clear to see that he was botted.
You know what else would cause a spike like this? Let's say Speed went on stream, everything's normal like this, and then he fucking beat a man to death in cold blood. There would be this huge spike then too, and it wouldn't be bots. It would people say, holy shit, what the fuck? L Speed? Murder? Like it'd have a spike then too. The reason the spike happened is because you had more egregious calls to action like following the Twitter, so people started putting out that it is a fucking scam and this is shady.
It's clear to see that he was botted.
No,
Nobody in the chat
Christ.
meant what they said. That anybody that was watching that live stream, they started falling for it. They started thinking, okay, somebody knows something we don't. So started pushing out the narrative that this
This
a
is
scam.
so
Some people
embarrassing. Even as like a Paradox buyer, like the community for Paradox Meta, you have to see this and you have to be having your red flags go off. Like this has to trigger your own red flags to see that your CEO is so weak and so insecure that he's writing these things off as bots in pure delusion and cope, calling it an attack. Like in the crypto space, you have to be smarter than that. Like you would know the bare minimum about how shit works. What he should have done is just say, the Speed audience wasn't ready for it. They didn't see the vision, so they all thought it was a scam. And you know what? We missed the mark. Now they all think we're a scam, but we're not. But he's not doing that. Instead, he's placating. He's putting this on some invisible enemy that doesn't exist. It's not bots. Now he just looks really weak to even his own community. He looks so insecure.
actually decided, you know what? This is actually funny. Let's troll the person we look up to the most, that we tune into every single day.
The guilt trip.
Entertains us for free.
classic.
Doesn't ask for anything in return. Guys, please listen very carefully. It's very important.
Our crypto exchange is worth $40 billion and has sent us a picture saying, why is I should see comment saying scam coin? $40 billion. We spent $10 million on this project and every single person in the comment is saying scam coin because we are getting botted. Please do something, we're going to lose. Listen, Twitter giveaway.
Guys, what you have just heard is the aftermath of being completely botted. Scam.
Ugh.
$10 million of my hard-earned money that I've worked so hard for.
What is that even supposed to prove? You still believing it's bots, refusing to accept the reality of things, that people see through this garbage. Like, this doesn't prove anything on your innocence. It doesn't. All this proves, and if you played it longer, is that you asked Speed to shut it down. You asked if he could disable the chat. So you're taking away the people's voice, which makes you look bad and goes against your fucking stances on things. Like, if you played it further. Like, it doesn't prove anything anyway, even if you take out that part. It is not evidence. It's nothing. It's literally nothing.
Into this project, into this business. And the fact that I'm going to lose it all because everybody is labeling it as scam.
Yeah, well, at least you still have your stupid fucking university. Like, you have plenty of other scams that you can hustle on too, man. Like, you don't need your sob story. 10 million to you is nothing. You made a whole video with money kicks showing off your rented car collection. Like, you have plenty of money. Like, you're got a ton of other ventures that I'm sure you can pull from.
At no point did anyone say we are going to scam anyone. Anyone with half a brain cell can see this with their own eyes.
Yeah, anyone with half a brain cell can see that just by looking at our product real quick and seeing all 7 of our companies that promise things like $500 a day and 10 to 100x returns. Oh, and also the same guy who can't follow through on his bet, where you bet that the Paradox meta will open to at least like 20 or 30, and if it doesn't, you're changing your name to CoffeeZilla. It opened to 9 cents, and you didn't change your name to CoffeeZilla. But here, let's take a peek at the game that you were so proud of. Man, that really does look like something that is the future and has a lot of work put into it, using so many assets, so many fucking standard packages in the what is this, the Unreal Store? I can't remember. Yeah, wow, this really does look like a lot going on here. Something that could absolutely be thrown together in a matter of minutes. And a game that I'm sure we've probably played before on Steam Indie New Release Night when we go through shitty games. They're called asset flips. There's nothing here that screams, whole team, passion project, we're in it for the long haul with this project.
And what was the label? I Show Speed promotes crypto scam.
Yep,
Guys,
he did.
listen to the audio yourself. Go over it again and again. Mention to us once when we said we are going to scam people.
That's such a non-point. We never said it on that stream, so it can't be true. Prove that we said it's going to be a scam. Do it, pussy. Where did I say it's a scam? Anywhere during that stream.
Is the person you want to label a scam, or is it that you just want to associate I Show Speed with a scam? This is cancel culture at its finest.
Oh, hitting all the buzzwords, all the boo-hoos, the cancel culture. Don't launch a shitty, shady crypto. It's that simple. Your crypto, your Paradox meta has like 7 components, all of which make no fucking sense and are literally just actual dog shit.
He was not getting done. Everything that was getting done in front of your eyes, no one had an issue with up until we got spammed.
That's actually not true. The smashing, like, you're already wrong. The smashing in the PlayStation 5's gotten a huge influx of L speeds. Chat immediately turned against him with the smashing of the PlayStation 5's. So, I mean, you're just not even right there either. It wasn't just L scam, it was L speed for smashing PlayStation 5's.
There was no evidence. There was no substance. If we was a scam, why would we still be here?
These are such non-points. If we were a scam, we'd be in jail right now. We wouldn't even be allowed here right now if we were a scam.
How is this fair? Here's a video. We're going to play the video. This video is
it mine?
Crying every single day, in tears every single day. But he still manages to continue with his live stream. Just to please his fans. And you guys took it upon yourselves to think it's funny to just troll people. You guys don't understand the stuff that comes after this trolling. On camera, everyone has to smile. Nobody can show other people their fears. Off camera, could you imagine what he's going through? Because we do. We know exactly what's going on.
You're not his fucking friend. He already threw you to the wolves. Why are you still sucking his dick? Speed, like straight up said, yeah, this was a mistake. Like, he at the very least has moved on and said, yep, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. And yet here you are like, oh, we are there. We are holding him in our laps as he is crying profusely, uncontrollably, because of what you guys have done to him.
He is not ready for what the world is accusing him of. And he doesn't know how to respond. So I'm taking it upon myself to respond on his behalf.
Oh, this is so sad now. You staked the rug pull on a 17-year-old's audience. It didn't pan out. He has now wiped his ass with your whole company, and you are still here begging for that audience to accept you by pretending like things are, like, close between you two. Yikes, that's embarrassing. Jesus Christ, man, have some shame.
Please stop this, hate. It takes very little to just be nice. Rather than just...
Calling out a scam isn't just needless cancel culture hate. That's just not what it is. This is so sad. This is so fucking sad. This is a grown man. This is a very, very wealthy grown man.
You can see us as founders, we do not even have access to our own tokens.
I literally don't think there's enough numbers that exist to show how many claims have been made exactly like that, only for them to get rugged. Everyone that bought in. That is the number one claim that every crypto makes. No, founders are fully out there, very transparent. They don't even hold any. And they couldn't even get in there if they wanted to. In fact, we have protocols in place to prevent that from happening. And then bang, rug pull. Every single time. Like clockwork. Literally every single time. Still my favorite to this day, there was a Twitter account called War on Rugs, which was a Twitter account dedicated to showcasing and warning people of rug pulls in the crypto space. And then eventually, they rugged their own community. So they had their own coin as well. And eventually War on Rugs was like, yep, we're taking. So they made off with millions, and they made a post saying, you guys should stop blindly trusting people like this. And still, people buy into shit like that. It's crazy. That is a nothing claim. Everything he has said so far is actually nothing. He's provided no evidence to prove that it's not a scam. He has provided nothing other than trying to guilt people and saying that it's all just bad faith trolling.
And we'll make sure we'll see you guys on the moon.
Nice, that's so huge. That was awful, holy fuck. That was a big one. What a masterclass in how to say absolutely nothing. Nah, part 2 might clear up everything. Even burning their founders' tokens they can't even cash out for a whole year, that shows passion and confidence in the project being 10,000, 100,000% legit. Oh, fuck me. I hope that's a bot. I hope that's not a real person. Yikes. Oh, fucking yikes. The comments aren't really on his side either. I really do wonder what the Paradox community thinks of a move like this, but I'm not going into their Discord to find out. Usually it's just a lot of people convincing themselves of absolute nonsense in order to believe that they can make money off of it, and then when it doesn't happen, they just pretend like, oh, they just got fooled by someone who was just too smart, even though the writing was on the wall right in front of their face the entire time. Everything he said is things thousands of scams in the space have said before him. He just copied their playbook. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This year, I'm thankful for the Paradox Metaverse crypto scam. It's the gift that just keeps on giving. Just when you think it's finally flatlined, no heartbeat left, someone brings out the defibrillator and gives us yet another embarrassing disaster to point and laugh at. To think it was only a brief 24 hours ago that the head of Paradox Metaverse embarrassed himself on video with the worst response the internet has ever seen. It honestly would have been less shameful for this guy if his sex tape leaked instead of that video being made. So his name is Amio Talio. He's the face of Paradox Metaverse, and it hasn't even been a full day and a half, and he's already put his ass in his mouth yet again and made an even bigger fool of himself. So while all of you are enjoying your feast, eating turkey, Amio's eating shit. I'll quickly bring everyone up to speed in case you don't know what this situation's about. Paradox Metaverse is a crypto company that has 7 components, all of which are like the 7 deadly sins of crypto. Each one is crazier and more nutty than the last. None of them seem legitimate whatsoever, promising outrageous things like potentially $500 a day through playing their game, or like these staking protocols that could potentially yield 10 to 100x your money. It's just dumb shit that has been a very common scam in the crypto space for years now. And they decided to do a big marketing push by going on iShow Speed Stream and having him shill their project for 2.5 hours. It didn't go over well. Everyone laughed at them, saying L scam, and it was a big deal. Speed has apologized and moved on. Some people have forgiven him, some people haven't. That's totally up to the individual and how they feel about the situation, but the people that haven't moved on the most are Paradox Metaverse themselves. They have just been getting saltier, and more delusional, and it is pathetic to watch. So, a little over 24 hours ago now, Amio Talio made his YouTube response video to all of the criticism, saying that it's only trolls and bots that believe this. if we were a scam, why would we still be here? It's rough. It's fucking rough. And then shortly after that video came out, a YouTuber and TikTok content creator posted some voice memos that were sent to him by Amiotalio that were threatening his life. Just threatening to beat him up and threatening to put a bounty on him to have people beat him up for him. It's despicable shit. I'll go ahead and show you that now.
Little shit, I'm gonna come see you personally myself. Yeah? For spreading all that fake fucking lies on my name. You little bastard. Watch when I catch you, I'm gonna smash your teeth in. Every single time you look at your face in the mirror, you're gonna see your broke up nose bust up in 20 different places. That's what I'm gonna do, that big fucking nose of yours. Right? You thought it was funny, innit? You thought it's funny. You can just troll mans on the internet. Bro, I'm not an internet guy. What you see on the internet is one thing. Bro, I'll come there and I'll slap you in your fucking mouth. And the worst is, I'm gonna put your fucking name out, right? I'm gonna screenshot your username right now. I'm gonna put 10 bags down. So anyone that shows me this guy's address, right? Shows me this guy's address, I'll give him 10 bags. Watch how your own boys will snitch on you and give me your address. And then I'm gonna see what you're gonna say when I come there. Because I think you think I'm just some internet dickhead, bro. I'm not an internet dickhead.
Now that is extremely concerning to hear, but you have to wonder, is it legit? Because how the fuck could someone in the crypto space be so unaware of how technology works that he didn't realize that those voice memos could be saved? How the fuck would he be so stupid that it would be making criminal threats like that on Snapchat, knowing full well it could just be leaked, as it did here? So I wanted to know, is it real? And so did CoffeeZilla. CoffeeZilla just made a whole video diving deeper into Amiotalio, and CoffeeZilla talked to the person that received those threats and confirmed with them that they were real. And then it was also confirmed by Amiotalio's partner in Discord that, yeah, he really did send all of those threats, but it was just him being emotional. It was just an emotional moment, as if somehow that makes it okay.
He responds, I do agree, emotions can run high when you're being attacked, and everyone is believing it over the truth, and it's overshadowing it. I guess the strategy here being the best way to stop people from thinking you're a scam is distract them with threats of criminal violence.
CoffeeZilla then goes on to showcase other instances where Amio has these meltdowns, even before Paradox Metaverse. This predates that. He's had plenty of moments in his past where he just threatens people and freaks out over nothing and just goes fucking ballistic. So this is far from an isolated incident with Amiotalio. This guy freaks out and rages more than a child playing Call of Duty on Xbox Live. It's so pathetic. I also should mention that he did follow through on that threat of putting a bounty on this guy's life. On his Snapchat, there's a screenshot that CoffeeZilla shows where he made this statement, 5K to the person that grabs him and brings him to me, which sounds like a threat straight out of Gotham City here, with like an order given by Carmine Falcone. CoffeeZilla had the same level of confusion by this that I did, because neither one of us could believe this guy was this stupid, just a giant fucking imbecile, making public threats like this on Snapchat. So he took a picture of the TikTok creator's Snapchat and said 5K to bring me this guy. Like, you have to be out of your mind to think that that's somehow a good idea. I don't know if his brain malfunctioned and he forgot where he was, like he thought he was playing GTA 5 role-playing or whatever, but it is fucking baffling that this actually happened, and it's all just so public, too.
You think by the time you even get your fucking TikToks out, and by the time you can even fucking go to sleep, you little bastard, I wanna come see you. You think I'm gonna let motherfucking trolls like you little bastard, get away with the shit you're gonna get away with? You think this is the case? Bro, see what happens tonight. I'll come see you myself. Go call whoever the fuck you want. Call the police. Do what the fuck you want. Make your little TikTok, you little pussy, yo. I ain't letting this shit go away.
Apparently, the reason he was so mad at this guy is due to threats of blackmail, I guess. At least that's what they were saying. But CoffeeZilla talked to the guy in the video here, and he had no clue what any of that was about, so there's no evidence to suggest there was any level of blackmail that warranted this kind of response. Not that anything would ever justify it, but that blackmail story that they tried to run with seems to be complete dog shit, like actual baloney. There's no proof of that. but there is clearly proof of Amiotalio sending these threats, and these have been verified as him sending these threats. Especially given his history of doing shit like this, it's extremely concerning. And even the community of Paradox Metaverse brainwashed zombies that for some reason bought into this whole idea, they got weirded out by this whole hoopla from Amiotalio here saying that it's not a good look, which it's not. It's like the worst look possible for your company. I mean, it's downright criminal behavior. And this has happened before where someone whose image is, I don't give a fuck, I'm too cool to care, multi-millionaire, doesn't bother me, let the sheep say what they want, not gonna bother with it. The second that person shows a weakness like this, where they're clearly hurt and offended and now making these threats and puffing out their chest and embarrassing themselves, people turn on them. Like, no matter how loyal the following, when they see that you get offended and this insecure, they turn on you like fucking piranhas. So Amio coming in here and showcasing how hurt his feelings were and then making these ridiculous threats, even his own community starts scratching their head and getting a little worried about this whole project. And you can see it kind of reflected in their coin's price, which continues to just dip and hopefully will plummet to less than zero soon enough. And hopefully the TikTok creator is safe. An outrageous situation overall that I just wanted to share because this is the latest update in this story that I've been following. And that's really about it. So yep. January 3rd is a date that had more importance to me than my own birthday, because that was the day Logan Paul said he was going to respond to CoffeeZilla's investigative series on his CryptoZoo project. Throughout a year-long investigation conducted by CoffeeZilla, he produced 3 videos that highlighted that CryptoZoo was a scam, and told the story of tons of victims who lost money and went over how it got to that point and what went on behind the scenes. Logan Paul stated that he would be responding to all the allegations on January 3rd, and he did, in a remarkably baffling way. So January 3rd rolled around, and it was this very sad wet fart of a response from Logan Paul. He released a 7-minute video where he addressed none of the actual claims that had evidence backing them and avoided all of the actual hard-hitting facts that CoffeeZilla was providing without giving his side of anything. Instead, he just started attacking the character of CoffeeZilla and throwing out wild accusations with nothing to back up his claims in his own video, which makes him very hypocritical in that sense, such as him stating at the very beginning that CoffeeZilla's been getting information wrong because he's turned into a gossip channel without ever showing any of the things he's gotten wrong recently, and then saying that he tried to work in law enforcement but was turned away for being not truthful and his work often being speculative, of which he provides no sources to where he got that, so I imagine he reached into his colon and pulled it out like a little dingleberry. So his video wasn't the best when it came to proving his innocence. So he then released a podcast episode yesterday going over it deeper. However, it's not deep at all. This shit is shallower than a micro penis. It doesn't go anywhere. It's still the very surface level shit where he doesn't actually talk about any of the evidence-backed claims that CoffeeZilla makes against him, his team, and his project. It's an hour and 20 minutes of them trying to play the victim here, and it's so shameless at one point that he even begins reading a letter that he supposedly received from a fan that made him tear up, talking about how great of a person Logan is and how he has such a kind heart, and then Logan tears up on the podcast again. None of this has anything to do with the CoffeeZilla investigation or CryptoZoo, so it just seems like he's farming sympathy points for some reason. It's just not good at all. This is actually significantly worse than his 7-minute response video. Now, he does reinforce that he will be suing CoffeeZilla for defamation for his investigative series on CryptoZoo, which leads me to believe that Logan Paul is truly surrounded by absolute fucking troglodytes. There is nobody in Logan Paul's immediate circle that gives him good advice. A defamation case is extremely hard to win in even the best of circumstances. But you have a shady crypto company that a ton of people lost a ton of money on, and you're suing a guy who investigated it for a year and provided nothing but an unbiased, objective look at the facts. No matter how you want to spin it, it is objective as it gets. Logan Paul seems to believe that CoffeeZilla highlighted him as a malicious, evil supervillain, which are his words, not mine. But in the actual investigation videos, you can see CoffeeZilla multiple times mentions that he can't pin the blame on any one person, and in fact focuses more highly on the other two people, Jake the Crypto King and Eddie Ibanez, than Logan Paul. So to win a defamation case, you not only have to prove that the information is incorrect, you have to prove that it was knowingly incorrect by the person who put it out there publicly. You have to prove there was malicious intent. You would have to somehow prove that CoffeeZilla knew all of this information was wrong, published it anyway for the sole purpose of hurting your image. And that's a very difficult thing to prove because you can make tons of arguments that CoffeeZilla, even if things are wrong, which so far Logan Paul's proven nothing wrong, aside from one of the victims in the testimonials being shady. Aside from that, he's proven nothing. He would then have such a solid defense regardless because he investigated and just provided like facts of information he gathered from Logan Paul's own team. So he would have a very strong case of, this isn't defamation, I was doing a public service by bringing all this information to light. It's an unwinnable case for defamation, and I have to imagine Logan Paul knows that and just wants to bully CoffeeZilla legally and cost him a lot of money to hurt him, which is fucked up. That is malicious and supervillain-like, Logan. Of course, I'm no lawyer, but I am at least somewhat familiar with how defamation cases usually go because when someone's feelings get hurt, they always try and sue for defamation for some reason. It's pretty cringe. Now, another thing that I want to mention before showing the podcast moments is Logan Paul is so delusional that he actually is using the defense of him hiring criminals makes him innocent. So in his response video, he's like, you talked to my developer that stole the code for $1 million. Did you know that that developer is actually a convicted criminal? And then showcases his criminal history, as if that makes Logan Paul look better or innocent. Logan, you hired 3 criminals to run this with you. That makes you look much, much worse and much more guilty. Oh, no, guys. It's not me that was bad. I hired 3 criminals. I brought together the Suicide Squad here to run this crypto company. It's them that were bad. It's not my fault. Why are you getting mad at me? I just hired the criminals. Obviously, you're responsible for the team you put together. You are liable for 2 of them stealing $7.7 million from the project here. That is your fault. I don't know why you keep falling back on, no, it's just that those criminals that did it, not me. Like, it's such a fucking stupid defense. I already did get kind of the spoilers that he really just repeats what he said in his video, which is nothing. Even in this hour and 20 long podcast, he doesn't actually debunk any of CoffeeZilla's... What was the question? He was just like spitting a fact. Now, I know these are just like his lackeys and his point is like, this is all wrong. But it wasn't even a question. He's just like, he's just like, right. Like, the only thing he failed to mention there is that it was a scam. But everything else, yeah, I mean, he's like, right. It's not like you were going to talk about CryptoZoo the next day or something. If CoffeeZilla never made the video telling the victim's story, this would have stayed just buried, fading into obscurity.
Here are some receipts after he released his series.
Logan, big guy. Coffee already posted the receipts. He reached out to you directly on Instagram, which was your only means of communication, by the way, since you blocked him, over a year ago. When that was a dead end, he reached out to your manager multiple times asking to talk directly to you. Jeff left him on red. It wasn't until every other avenue was burned that he called your manager, Jeff. Those receipts were already posted. But you are right, he did reach out again on December 24th to your email, again, after exhausting everything else, again, because you have him blocked. But that's just so transparently weak. Your offer was for him to fly out to your studio to do it, so couldn't the same argument be made for you? Like, that's not a strong point that you, for some reason, harp on so heavily. His offer was to just do a general video call. In fact, CoffeeZilla doesn't even do those interviews, video calls, on his main channel. He does it on a secondary platform. So it wouldn't even be milking views or anything out of it. It's literally just getting the truth.
Hey, Steven, just wanted to put my response to your scam allegations on your radar, linked below. Even though you broke laws, hardly substantiated your evidence, fabricated dangerously misleading falsehoods, and wrongfully accused me of scamming my fans, I'd still love to host you on Impulsive, again, unmonetized. It can even be one-on-
Hardly substantiated your evidence. I'm going to give him leeway on the breaking laws because even I didn't realize Texas was a one-party consent law when it came to recording conversations on the phone. So he didn't break laws, so that's blatantly wrong, but I'm going to give him leeway because I also didn't realize that was legal in Texas. But this, fucking yikes. And fabricated, dangerously misleading falsehoods. What, talking to your team of criminals, like, directly? What do you mean? Oh, no. Oh, this is so much worse than I would have expected. Just because Logan didn't make the money doesn't mean it wasn't a scam. You know who did make money and 7.7 million's worth? 2 of the other criminals he hired to run it with him, Mike. Yes, it is a scam, even though Logan didn't make the money off of it. Holy shit. I am going to assume this had to have been recorded a week ago or longer. There's no way he recorded this and released it today after his response video and the reception and all of the points made about it. I refuse to believe he is that blissfully ignorant of what's going on. This has to be old. This is bad. This is just... So the setup he's doing here is Coffee refused to come on Impulsive, so instead I'm gonna have my sidekick here make up easy softball questions that we think CoffeeZilla may have asked if he was lobotomized. And then Logan tackles those easy ones. For instance, what is a scam? Well, by the definition of a scam, Logan, did you make money off of this? And I already know the answer. Well, no, Mike. In fact, CoffeeZilla even corroborated this. I never sold the coin. That doesn't mean it's not a scam, Logan. Thus, everything CoffeeZilla said was accurate. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Doesn't mean it's not a scam, bro. Talk about the leaked group texts about how this was supposed to just emulate another lucrative project to exploit your fans for money as quickly as possible off as minimal effort as possible. And then talk about all of the meeting memos about market manipulation and what's an acceptable amount to sell on any given day for the percentage increase, or for the percentage effect on the overall tokenomics. Get into the market manipulation stuff from the actual group chats, man. That's what I'd like to hear.
That seemed just like a kill shot to this entire thing.
Yeah, maybe. If your brain is very smooth, I suppose. Well, everyone may have lost money, and the entire goal may have been to just exploit us for money, but Logan didn't sell. So I guess we weren't scammed. I can see how your mind worked in that. You're talking about it was stock images. It has nothing... Even if the art was bad, if it was clear it was actually custom art by real artists, then the critique would just be, yeah, the art's kind of lame. The critique is, the handmade art claim is wrong. As in, you're using stock images. What is he talking about? His claims were literally handmade art, and he talked about how many artists he had on the team. But it was revealed that it was mainly stock photos. Now, the hybridization of the art with a panda with a long elephant nose, maybe you had someone drum that up in 5 minutes in Photoshop, I guess? But, like, even that's a stretch. Discussion he has that's insightful at all. I know that he says that CoffeeZilla is milking victims of his scam, which is a wild thing to say. Just get over it. You lost money. Stop milking it. That is what. Where is that actually? I'll pull that up in case any of you haven't seen that. Where in this podcast is it? So that wasn't the milking it part, but that was embarrassing. Jesus Christ, Mike. Logan, when we were in Qatar, in that spa, surrounded by topless women, drinking expensive champagne, I looked over, you checked your phone, CoffeeZilla made a video with your name in it. You knew it was about CryptoZoo, and I saw, through the windows of your soul, I saw your heart broke, Logan. So I did what any good friend would do. I put your whole sack into my mouth. And I didn't want to, Logan. Trust me, I didn't want to. But I put it in my mouth where it was nice and warm, and I knew I could comfort you in this time of need. And I'm not trying to make it seem like the victim, but you ruined our entire vacation, CoffeeZilla. All of it. Ruined it. Did you watch the video? I have to wonder. I actually thought he did a really great job of talking about the other ones as being the really malicious evil supervillains and you being the bumbling buffoon. You played the comic relief of the scam, Logan. I have to wonder if he even watched it. Coffee focused very heavily on Crypto King and Eddie. You were just the dummy. Like the actual fucking dummy. There's the resub harmonica. And guys, I really do care about you. This isn't just lip service. This wasn't supposed to be a scam. Things got out of control. You lost money. Real people were hurt. And I can't live with that anymore. I'm giving you your investments back. And since it's on the blockchain, you have the ledger. You can easily see who invested what so you don't get scammed by people pretending to be investors. And you could easily just give them it back and make it whole. But he won't. He could afford to, though. 100% he could afford to. No, but Charlie, he takes pictures with his fans. That's a good point. A picture's worth more than the millions of dollars that they've lost. Hey, babe. I know I lost money with Dink Doink from Logan Paul last time. Well, I did it again with Crypto Zoo, but I got this dope-ass picture with him. Like, look at how happy we look together. What do you mean you're leaving? They're called victims, Logan.
Part 6 is the more he says and the more he continues to spread this misinformation that this was any sort of con or scam, the more I have for the lawsuit that I am filing. The defamation.
The disconnect in his brain is wild because he puts it on this lens like the guy, CoffeeZilla, is just someone that doesn't like him, as opposed to a guy who investigated this fully. So he truly believes that everyone that he showcases and every story he tells has to be by a paid actor and can't comprehend that real people lost a lot of money from his project. Or maybe he can and he pretends to be stupid. Couldn't really tell you. But yeah, he just talks about the people losing money as being milked, or them milking it. Yo, you got scammed. Get over it. I think I really do think Stan's had the best take on it. Like, if he was Logan Paul's guy, he would have advised to just ignore it. And he's absolutely right. I thought the right play would just be make everyone whole again, refund them. I think that's the morally correct thing to do. But if Logan just wanted the easiest way and just to get out of this as quickly as possible, if he never said anything, he would have been fine, actually. But now he's posted this on both of his main platforms, Logan Paul channel and now Impulsive. All of his audience is now aware of this. Now they've probably watched CoffeeZilla's video, and with all of that evidence, they're going to look at Logan Paul and be like, fuck, this guy hasn't proven his innocence at all. He hasn't even mentioned any of the claims. So he really fucked himself. If he had just ignored it, his audience would have never known, never cared, and he would have been in the same situation. He would have been fine. His fans are definitely not watching CoffeeZilla's video. I disagree. So I actually think since now he's posted it 2 times, they're going to be like, what is he talking about? What are these scam allegations? I bet it's a bunch of baloney, a bunch of fucking barnacles. Logan would never do that. Let me see what this is. And they'll watch it for even a second, like hate watch it. But then Coffee immediately starts making points and they're like, interesting. His audience, no. I don't know. Maybe I'm now skewed on what I think his audience is after the CoffeeZilla videos because everyone that he interviewed that got scammed for a lot of money was not a kid. They were young adults. So no, maybe I'm under the false idea that his audience is older than they are. I always thought he had like a Disney Channel audience, but after the CoffeeZilla investigation, I became convinced they were older. Plus he's in the WWE now, which is mainly older audience. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong fully. What I wanted is for him to actually tackle the evidence. I would really like to hear from his side, if there is one. Right now, I'm starting to genuinely doubt he has any legs to stand on there on this situation. But, who knows? You didn't see him push Prime at the end.
You look like a...
Yeah, Prime needed an extra push. It's only on his goddamn phone case on the table, them drinking it constantly, them fiddling with it constantly. Yeah, it needed that extra push. Yeah, surely I needed to see that. A few weeks ago, a big YouTuber named Kwite came under fire and got put in the crosshairs of the entire internet after some extremely serious allegations were levied against him. The allegations came from one person on Twitter in particular who released a massive document that accused him of some truly heinous things. And as a result, his ham was getting steamed, they were calling him a criminal, and just like the Thornberrys, Twitter went a little wild. They were judge, jury, and executioner, and decided in the court of public opinion that Kwite was already guilty on everything he was charged with. So they labeled him a rapist. They were no longer allegations, all of it was presented as facts. This was as real as algebra now, and if you said, like, hey, maybe let's wait to hear from the other side for a moment, you would have been labeled evil. If you even tried to utter the forbidden phrase of innocent until proven guilty, you would have been burned at the stake like it was the fucking Salem witch trials. It's also important to mention that it was more than rape too. They threw the entire kitchen sink at him. Every fucking horrible term you could imagine was all getting flushed down Kwite like he was a goddamn public toilet. He was labeled many awful things, and 2 days ago he came forward to debunk the entire thing in an 1.5 hour long video, thoroughly going through every single accusation and pretty much tearing it to pieces with an incredible amount of evidence, and honestly just an incredible amount of bravery with some of the things that he publicly owns up to. Very personal, very big insecurities, such as like sexual performance and his anxiety regarding anything sexual, and even admitting to still being a virgin. There was a lot of things that he talked about here that I know for a fact couldn't have been easy, especially because now he put his face on it. Up until this point, Kwite hid his face. He hid his actual identity, but because of all of these accusations, he was doxxed from it, as I understand, and he wanted to showcase how seriously he was taking everything, so he dropped the mask and the hoodie and put his real face on top of this stinky shit cake that he was served, and he just brought down the brass tacks and laid out all of the facts as well as all of the context and a significant amount of evidence supporting his claims and debunking the things that the accuser was saying. This is probably one of the strongest rebuttals I've ever seen from an internet content creator when faced with serious allegations. The way Kwite has handled this is very, very impressive. And the response to it has been overwhelmingly positive in favor of Kwite. Now, most people are starting to rally behind Kwite and seeing that a lot of the things presented by the accuser were either outright lies or manipulated half-truths or completely misleading series of accounts of situations. It's all just not looking great. And in response, they've also posted I guess what was supposed to be a receipt proving that they've seen a therapist for PTSD, I guess, but that's all really pretty shady and sketchy and also not super important to what's being discussed here. So overall, just isn't looking good for the initial accusations. And I just want to kind of talk about this whole situation, not so much the particulars of it, because that's not my place to really talk about it. If you want to see the whole situation, I highly recommend going to Kwite's video to get a full grasp on all of it. What I want to talk about is the mob mentality that instantly formed against Kwite while being completely against hearing his side of it or listening to anyone that wanted to wait before fully forming their opinion. Because I caught a lot of shit for not talking about it for the course of 3 weeks, saying that I was trying to silence the story of a big rapist on YouTube and all kinds of horrible things, just awful shit. And I want to just talk about that because I'm not even surprised, because the general mentality on the internet is believe all victims no matter what and don't ask questions, because everyone wants to believe the best in people. If a victim is coming forward, it's because they're legitimately a victim and everything they're saying is the truth. Every argument they're making, everything they're presenting is a fact, and it's all a 100% account of what actually happened in these situations. And it's kind of a naive way of thinking. Like, it's just extremely trusting. Like my dad. Like a week ago, my dad sent me a text saying, "Hey bud, I was playing Forza," because I got my dad into Forza. He's become quite the gamer now. I was playing Forza and I got a message from someone saying that I was really good and he wanted me to like sign up for his team or something, but I can't get the website to work. And I panicked. I was like, holy fuck, Dad, this is absolutely a scam. Don't you dare go to that site or sign up for whatever he's trying to sell on you. It's not real. And I know that was probably a tough pill to swallow for him. It probably broke his heart because he responded with like, "Oh, okay, maybe he didn't think I was good." And I had to reassure him. I was like, "No, Dad, I'm sure that wasn't the case. You were probably clapping cheeks out there. He's just, he's not being truthful with you. You can't just immediately trust complete strangers all the time." Especially in a situation where there's multiple people involved in the situation, it's important to get all sides of it so you get a full scope, a full educated look at everything going on. There's nothing wrong with seeing someone come forward and being like, "Holy shit, this is terrible. I'm sorry to hear all of that, but I'd like to wait to see all the other sides involved here before I fully form an opinion on all of this." Like, it's not that I don't believe you, it's that I'd like to wait to see everything before I fully understand what was going on here. And you can still, of course, be supportive of the victim that came forward, like, "Wow, I'm really sorry to read all of these things, it's fucking horrible." But you don't have to immediately start getting the pitchforks and the fucking shield out, ready to go fight the person that's accused without ever even hearing their side first, right? Because the sad reality is, people can lie. That includes accusers that are coming forward against somebody. They could be telling some things that aren't entirely truthful, or maybe are a little misremembered or misleading. There have been cases of people just outright making shit up in order to hurt someone that they had a falling out with. There's been an unreal amount of cases like that. And it's something that I've learned the hard way. A very quick, great example is Mick Gordon versus Bethesda. With the Doom OST, Doom Eternal OST, there was a huge hoopla, a big fucking gross meatball of controversy in terms of Mick Gordon versus Bethesda. One of the higher-ups made a Reddit post accusing Mick Gordon of being lazy. It's all his fault. The OST's kind of shitty. Mick Gordon's just awful to work with. And I believed it. I took him at face value, even though he never even really provided real evidence to support his claims. It's just one of those things of, well, why would he come forward and lie about it? You know, I trusted him. He was in a position of power, too, where it'd be really weird to risk his entire reputation and the reputation of his company to just outright lie about one of the most beloved artists in the video game soundtrack space. So it just didn't make sense to me, so I took it at face value. Like, damn, Mick Gordon must just be a lazy asshole. And you already know how that fairy tale ends. 2 years later, Mick Gordon drops one of the fattest fuck yous of all time with an unreal amount of evidence and receipts to debunk everything that was claimed by Bethesda and highlight just how awful all of it was and who was really responsible for the shittiness of the OST. Still one of the finest pieces of reverse, like, Uno card ever. And it came 2 years later after I and many others had already fully made their judgment on Mick Gordon's character based off of one accuser. And unfortunately, history repeated itself here, and everyone accepted all of these allegations as fact based on one accuser's account of all of it. And these are life-ruining accusations, fucking rape and a ton of other horrible things. Like, those aren't goofy little silly accusations. That's not something you toss out willy-nilly like a fucking baseball. That can ruin your life. That will sink you. And people just ran with it. Didn't ask questions. Didn't care to hear Kwite's side of anything. Everything Kwite did, they criticized. Like, I think he took down his Discord server and they took that as a deeper admission of guilt. Everything that happened only confirmed the accusations must be real. Everything that didn't happen, the longer Kwite waited, the more and more people were convinced that everything was truthful there because he's taking so long to respond. The guilt must be weighing him down. He's a rapist. And they kept pushing that everywhere. Twitter, all over the place. And now he's responded, and the shoe's on the other foot. A lot of the people that were calling him a rapist have at least publicly eaten shit on it and apologized to him, which is nice. Not all of them. There's some holdouts there that just still outright refuse to even listen to him, which is always the worst fucking mentality ever, where, oh, I heard one side, I don't want to hear the other. Doesn't matter what you say, I will always think this way of you. Those fucking losers grind my ass so hard because it's clear you don't care about the truth. You just want somebody to hate, and this has given you a perfect excuse to hate someone. You have a new villain to attack because you didn't even want to hear the side that would offer more of an insight and help you get closer to the truth of the situation. It didn't fucking matter to you. You just want to stay mad forever and continue to live this miserable life of finding people to hate online and having this list of people that you feel justified to attack and say horrible things to and about. It's fucking tragic. I hate that shit. But luckily, that's not everyone. That's only a small group of people that are for some reason still adopting that mindset. But yeah, anyway, just kind of wanted to talk about all of this because it's a pretty awful situation that I thought was worth going over at least a little bit. That's about it. See ya.